All right. Well, we are going to go ahead and get started, everyone. We want to welcome you to today's webinar titled Pre-Tax Benefit Account Enhancements. Wow, that title is so benign for the excitement that is actually going through my veins right now. That next phrase there really sums up what we want to touch on here today. Here at PrimePay, we are so excited to bring this new enhancement to our FSA, our HRA participants, and also HSA individuals, account holders. We are just thrilled, kind of over the top, to be able to talk to you today about this great enhancement, really centered around revolutionizing claims management. So super excited to share this with you. Hello, everyone. My name is Steve Jackson. I'm the Senior Vice President at Broker Concierge and here at PrimePay, and I'm just thrilled that you've taken time out of your busy schedules to sit with us today. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, what is it? How does it work? What's going on? When does it happen, right? You have all those questions kind of going through your mind here right now. That is fine, and I hope to answer every single one of those questions. However, here's some logistics. I may not be able to answer all of your questions today. So if you would, go into the GoToMeeting menu bar there. You'll see a question box. Please go ahead at any time throughout the webinar today to type in your question. Now, we are not going to take direct questions here today on this webinar, but I am going to ensure that our team reaches out to you directly after the webinar today with those answers to your questions. So no question will become unanswered here today. So as I go through today, I am quite certain there will become some outstanding questions that you will want addressed. So please go ahead, go into that question box and go ahead and type it in. We are also recording the webinar here today, and we will be sharing that link with you here after the webinar in our follow-up email, and that email usually goes out within a day or two of our webinar, so look for that information here forthcoming. Those of you who are our Broker Concierge partners, we will also be providing the copy of the slide deck. So you actually can receive a copy of this deck just for your own use, for review, as you may be going through the recording. All right, so that will kind of take care of the logistics. But before I get started, I do want to provide a strong shout out here to our partner, MyMedicalShopper, who has actually, through their technology, has enabled us to bring this new enhancement to you and your clients, and ultimately to the participants who are going to greatly benefit from this new claims management system. So we are thrilled to work with a partner such as MyMedicalShopper with their great technology, but also the integration that we have within our benefit administrative platform. It makes things so fluid. And so we're just excited to have to be working with MyMedicalShopper and their solution called ClaimsFlow. So let's go here into the agenda. Now, you know, I had said earlier, you probably are going to have a lot of questions, right? What is this thing that you speak of, Steve? You know, what on earth is this thing all about? How does it work? Which clients does it affect? Is it new clients, existing clients, so on and so forth? So I plan, as you can see with the agenda here, we're going to cover it all. We really are going to cover each of these aspects as deeply as I can. And like I said, if you have a deeper type of a question, go ahead and type it out in the question box, and I'll be sure to have our team follow up with you after the webinar. All right? So, PrimePay, we've been at this for a while, right? We think back of new pieces of technology that have come in regard to claims management over the years, right? The internet, no dust statement of the year, right? The internet has been tremendous, right? The ability to submit claims online was such a welcome experience many years ago to be able to do that. More recent, we've had, mobile applications that have, really facilitated, it's much more quicker or efficient claim submission process when we talk about FSAs and HRAs. But one of those big items that came out, and we're now talking 14 years ago, was the debit card, right? Today, a debit card swipe for an FSA, about 75% of those transactions are auto-substantiated, meaning there's no required or additional required documentation needed for that claim, right? So the debit card transformed, how claims can be transacted when the services are rendered, and, that additional follow-up may or maybe most likely is not needed, based on that debit card swipe. However, 15, 16 years ago now, right, HRAs really were born. And with the HRA plan designs came the need for substantiation around explanation of benefit statements. And so when you think about HRAs and the growth, the increased growth in HRA plans and adoption of HRAs here over the years, the need for additional efficiencies it's greatly impacting. We have heard it day in and day out here at PrimePay. You got to make it easy. We've got to make this easier for our employees. And so there's been these common challenges, right? You guys know the drill. We are somewhat in this antiquated medical processing type of a structure today, right? So we've got a medical provider, an employee goes to a medical provider and has services rendered. The medical provider enters that information into the insurance carrier's portal, and then that carrier is going to go through their processing of that claim. And so that most common question that we always get, right? Well, when am I getting that EOB? I had, just as an example, in my family, I received an EOB that was months after the service that was rendered. And I literally am looking at the EOB going, okay, wait, I don't even remember what this thing is even for. So this question of when am I going to receive my explanation of benefits is one statement, but then it's just a question of, well, with an HRA, well, is this service that was rendered or claim, is it even qualified, right? I mean, wait a minute, I don't even know if this thing qualifies for what my employer is providing for me in this HRA, or does it qualify for an FSA reimbursement as well? But if you're like me, receiving that EOB months later, it's a question of, okay, how do I submit this now? I forgot my portal login. Do I use a mobile app? Do I need another piece of paperwork like a claim form? What do I need? And oftentimes they're calling their HR department. They're calling our customer service representatives here at PrimePay. They're calling you, the broker, right? Just to determine what their next steps will be. And so it's been a common challenge of not only the timeliness, of receiving the EOB, but even that employee then remembering to grab that EOB to then submit it, so that they could receive proper credit or reimbursement for that particular claim. So why ClaimsFlow? And I just want to talk about just a few advantages that we see here at PrimePay on how it impacts the employer, employee, and even someone else that's part of this process as well. The first here is certainly an employer perspective. We needed to drive a solution that would be carrier agnostic. We wanted employers, along with you as the benefits broker, to be able to go ahead and create those plan designs or those health plans with, whichever carrier that you needed to work with. And so just as we provide HRA administration or FSA administration, not really caring who the carrier is, the same instance needed to be applied here as it related to ClaimsFlow and this new claims management. Greater efficiencies and compliance. I've already talked about this. Employers deal so much with just administration issues in informing employees how to submit claims or what expenses qualify, so on and so forth. So we just needed to be able to roll out a solution that provided greater efficiencies, but also helped to mitigate or manage the compliance aspects of those specific plan designs in a real and pertinent way. We also, what was very common as far as a comment from employers was, listen, we are creating an HRA plan design to fit this large deductible, okay, that now applies to their plan. Look, my employees only make so much. I don't want them to have this financial burden. And so, many employees, participants, just didn't even send us the EOB here at PrimePay. They never kind of ended up furnishing the items that were needed, for us to properly reimburse them for qualified expenses or services that were rendered, by that employee. So we needed to have a claims management process through ClaimsFlow that would actually reduce that financial exposure to the employee, certainly, or the burden to the employee. It also we needed to ensure that it's going to reduce all those common errors, manual entries, manual errors, claim forms that are handwritten, you can't even read it, pictures of the EOB that were often distorted, or out of focus or on an angle, and you can't read it all, right? So just the common errors that are going to come into play. And then lastly, too, these last three are a big deal. Increasing employee enrollment. When you think about an FSA, for instance, through this, if we make it easy for an employee, a participant, to participate in the flexible spending plan, we make it easier for them. Look, we're going to increase participation. We're going to increase the satisfaction of that, of that employee and of those individuals, which means what? Greater participation, greater elections will actually increase the FICA tax savings for the employer. So an employer wins, with additional tax savings that they would receive through that increased employee enrollment. And of course, it will have the result of greater employee adoption and engagement for sure. Employee advantages. Well, it comes to no surprise that we did want to ultimately drive a solution here that had the employee really first and foremost in mind. And so we really wanted to touch on the amount of reduced claims and EOB submissions that an employee would have to make. Most of the HRA plans that that are designed today are tied around the deductible, which means that an explanation of benefit statement is the sole substantiation material that we would require to be able to qualify that particular service as a qualified reimbursement or not. Okay, so being able to reduce that, whether it be completely or entirely, was a really big deal. So more automatic substantiation. We wanted to ensure that the employees would even get their checks even more quickly. So those EOBs are going to be sent to us, as I'll share here in a second, much more quickly, which means we're going to process that claim quickly and get that either reimbursement made as a direct deposit or check to that participant, to that employee, within days, of an EOB being pushed out to that employee. Accurate and timely claim submission. This is going to reduce the amount of errors just from a user basis as an employee, certainly from a PrimePay perspective. We needed to look at that both ways as well. So quicker reimbursement, and this even helps an employee who might be on an HSA for record keeping purposes. What a great opportunity or a place to take all the EOBs that are being generated and to kind of put it all into one account or one place in the portal where they can have a better record keeping of services rendered, just in case, right, if they're ever audited, in the future based on those claims. The last individual, and it's a very important one, there are strong broker advantages here as well. For those of you who are participating as a partner in our broker concierge program, you are probably receiving some commissions, okay, through that structure. And so with this enhancement, we want to look at solutions that can actually put, hopefully, more money in your pocket. So the first way that we do that is we will see participation levels increase, as I mentioned earlier when I talked about the employer. So what that'll do is, right, that's going to increase the number of the amount of revenue per client, which means that you will have a higher broker concierge commission on that particular client. So you can receive potentially more in commissions from PrimePay, but guess what? Your talk track has now expanded as well. So as you're prospecting or as you're talking with clients, you can bring this enhanced feature to the table because it adds true value. And we believe here at PrimePay that this additional value can be a differentiator as you're seeking to go after more prospects or certainly with existing clients that you have. And we did talk about the carrier agnostic piece. was very important that we enabled you as the benefits broker to be able to seek whichever carrier was best for that employer and for their employees. The next one is a big one, and it's really a call out to your account team, your account managers, those that are really spending the day-to-day, and it may be you as a producer, but many times you as an account manager. With this, in reducing the amount of the claims management experience, creating more efficiencies in this area, it absolutely will reduce the amount of time that you spend talking to the employer or the HR administrator, troubleshooting claims, or just reducing the amount of time spent with the employee as part of education, or again, troubleshooting claims management. So we have some wonderful advantages here with bringing this out to you. So let's kind of dive into it, and so that way you can learn a little bit more about how this thing works. So let me just give you a refresher here, right? Current claims process. I think you all are generally aware of it, but let me just touch on it here briefly, and then we'll talk about how ClaimsFlow is going to revolutionize that. So you guys, as I had mentioned there prior, you understand that medical claim is rendered through a medical provider. The medical provider submits that information to the carrier, right? So as a patient, you're going to receive an EOB generally, well, maybe not days, but weeks after medical care has been delivered. The medical bill will arrive, right, days or weeks after that, generally. Many times, like in the example that I shared, it was months after the service was rendered. I really had to think about, well, what on earth, why did I get this statement to begin with, right? I mean, just it's so prolonged. So the first step, they received that. So once that employee, the participant in the HRA, has received the EOB, that participant is going to take the EOB from that carrier portal, right, which is generally how it's going to be displayed. And then they're also going to attach a claim form, okay? Now, there's many ways to send that here to PrimePay. They can do it through a mobile app. They can do it through email. They can fax it. They can mail it. They can go online and submit their claims, right? So there's a lot of different ways for them to actually submit that to us at the end of the day. But that employee too has to think, okay, I need to have that claim form handy so that I can go ahead and get that submitted. Oh, and who am I supposed to submit this to? Right. All those questions are going through their minds. And reimbursement is made, max 7 to 10 days later, from the date of that submission. All right, let's talk about ClaimsFlow, this enhanced claims management, because you know what? That's the past. Let's talk about the future and where we're headed here. All right, so I mentioned here earlier that we have partnered with MyMedicalShopper. Again, just a great technology company and partner to work with here on this great enhancement. So here is what's going to happen. Let's say you have an employee that, an employer just adopted an HRA for their health plan. We enroll an employee into the HRA here at PrimePay, which by doing that, that's going to activate their PrimePay participant portal, okay, for them to go in and see information. When they go into their PrimePay participant portal, they are going to see a wizard, okay, if you will. And it will look maybe something like this, okay, that they are going to click on. And so an employee for the first time to be able to enroll in ClaimsFlow, if a participant says, hey, I don't want to worry about when my EOB hits my carrier portal. Oh my word. I just want that to happen automatically. So they're going to click on that MyMedicalShopper wizard, okay, or that button, if you will, in that portal, and they're going to be led to a secured MyMedicalShopper account or portal. They're going to do two things. First off, they're going to search for their health insurance carrier, all right? It's with United Healthcare, okay, whomever that may be, all right? So they find their carrier. They then are going to be prompted to provide the login credentials of their carrier portal there in the MyMedicalShopper portal. So they're going to provide those login credentials. Again, username, password information. Submit. Really, it's two steps. Those steps are completed. Once that employee, that participant has done those two things, they're done. They can go back into their PrimePay participant portal, look up information, so on and so forth, right? Enact with that, kind of activate that portal as they need to, based on their plan design. After that has been done, the EOBs begin to arrive into the participant's carrier portal, right, as services are rendered from that employee through some medical service, right? An EOB then is sent into that participant's carrier portal. MyMedicalShopper, through ClaimsFlow, is going to retrieve those EOBs automatically. They then are going to collect the plan data that's pertinent to the HRA or FSA for claims processing, but specific to an HRA FSA plan design. And then they're going to automatically send them to PrimePay, which we then will in turn just process them, reimburse them quickly and efficiently. So what I've just laid out here for you is that in two steps, an employee, a participant in an HRA, can search for their health insurance carrier, provide the login credentials, and from that point on, within their HRA plan year, those EOBs are going to be collected and sent automatically. This employee is not concerned about when that EOB hits or where can I find a claim form, okay? That will be done automatically. Within the participant portal, this employee can see claims. So with an HRA, these claims are probably going to be substantiated through our normal process. We are going to look at them, either approve them, deny them, pay them, right? Based on a claim that is coming in, whether they have a first dollar HRA, percentage split, a sandwich plan, I mean, whatever type of design it is, we will substantiate that accordingly. But let's say you're with an FSA, right? So in an FSA type of a setting, you may not want to necessarily pull the money out of your FSA. And so participants can go into their PrimePay participant portal, view all of their claim activity, and determine based on that EOB being submitted, hey, do I want to request reimbursement on this? Or I don't need to. You know, I've got another bigger expense coming up. I'm going to wait for that. So these expenses, say for an FSA, will be pended, okay, within the system, all right? And so what a great opportunity for participant engagement. They'll be notified when that EOB is, or that information is into our portal, and then they can go into the portal to then decide, hey, I want to request reimbursement for that or not. All right, so what are we doing here? I mean, we basically have removed one of the largest employee challenges. Now, if we could just remove the use it or lose it rule, right? All right, we're working on it. We're working on it, okay? But this employee challenge has been removed, and we're specifically talking about EOBs, okay? There are some other types of expenses, right, that will apply to an FSA or potentially to an HRA where an EOB is not necessary. Maybe it's a doctor statement, maybe it is an RX claim receipt, or a statement that is needed, right, for substantiation. But through this enhancement, EOBs will be automatically retrieved and submitted to PrimePay for substantiation, reimbursement, and record keeping, with the direct result of hands-off claims submission. So I'm already seeing some questions kind of come through here. And it's all about, well, hang on a minute. Okay, if my employer has this type of a plan, how does that work, right? All right, so think of this. ClaimsFlow is the claims submission process. We're enhancing, we're creating a more efficient process just for claims. But that's just going along with the, when EOBs are submitted and they're sent to PrimePay, and PrimePay would perform our normal substantiation process, right? We'll review it. Does that meet the qualifications of their HRA or FSA? If it does, we reimburse them. If not, we deny the claim, so on and so forth, no change. But what plans? Are there some restrictions? Well, I want to say that there is a green light on the plans that work with ClaimsFlow. So here at PrimePay, we have great flexibility in HRA plan designs, We do. We're probably one of the few that really permit. We're much less restrictive in how we there's zero cookie cutter here at PrimePay for HRA plan designs. So if you have a first or second dollar HRA, a sandwich plan, percentage split, post deductible, copay replacement. Oh, but wait a minute, I have an embedded deductible type of a plan. ClaimsFlow works with every single one of those HRAs. So if PrimePay has stated to you, hey, we can administer that HRA plan design, then guess what? ClaimsFlow is available. All right? So for an HRA that is administered here at PrimePay, ClaimsFlow can participate or go along with each one of those HRAs here at PrimePay. Now, it also very much works with FSAs. So for the health FSA, for limited purpose FSAs, or your combinations, right? Your HRA FSA, HSA, HRA, any of those types of plans, ClaimsFlow can be coordinated to work with any of those plan designs. It can also be used for HSAs. Now, as you know, with HSAs, there's no claims management, meaning PrimePay is not substantiating claims for HSAs. But you might want to think of this for HSAs as a repository of information, record keeping, right? Maybe instead of that shoebox or filing cabinet where you've been storing receipts for your HSA qualified expenses for years, you could store it electronically directly within our portal. So it could be used for record keeping purposes, certainly for HSAs. So the green light is on for every single one of these plan designs. So that's a great message. All right. But there's something that is a little more important, okay? So I've just told you we've got open season here. You can have whatever HRA that comes in that we accept, we can attach ClaimsFlow on there. But there also needs to be a green light that is flashing, right, for the carriers. We need to make sure that MyMedicalShopper and the technology that they have in harvesting these EOBs, that they have the ability to integrate like they need to with those carrier portals, okay? So let's get the elephant out of the, well, let's see, in the room, out of the room. Okay, let's get it out. So there is one carrier that we are unable to work with here at this time, and that is Aetna. So if you do have, you're establishing an HRA plan, and you have, it's Aetna, it's an Aetna plan, high deductible health plan, and we have an HRA. PrimePay would love to earn the HRA business, okay, and assist that service with your clients. But we would be unable to establish ClaimsFlow with that particular Aetna plan, okay? So right now, at least here in 2018, Aetna, that carrier or those plans are not available for ClaimsFlow. There are over 100 carriers that MyMedicalShopper has already connected with. We are currently working on some Pennsylvania ones because we have a lot of Pennsylvania HRA clients, UPMC, Highmark, Geisinger, just to name a few there. We're working on Emblem, Regents of Idaho, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, Humana. So there's some key ones that are coming on and will be coming on here very, very soon. But I tried to put some logos up there of just, some existing carriers that we work with. We work with United Healthcare, nationwide, United Healthcare Oxford, but then Cigna, virtually all of the Blue Cross Blue Shields across the country, Kaiser, and even those carriers such as Delta Dental and VSP. So, but here's the thing. We are willing, if you're bringing in an HRA or an FSA here to PrimePay and you want to introduce ClaimsFlow to that particular client for those employees, and if we just don't have an immediate connection with that carrier, that's okay. Let's get that carrier information, and we're going to go ahead and begin that process of integration. So generally, it takes about 4 weeks, but that's a max, probably much shorter time period. So whether it's really connected, it's a connected relationship or not, we just want to get that set up. It takes probably up to 4 weeks, probably less, but up to 4 weeks time to get that established. The main point I want to make is, although Aetna may not be available today, we certainly hope that it will here as we go into 2019, but do know that every other carrier out there, we have an opportunity to be able to connect. Okay, and MyMedicalShopper and along with us, we'll partner to make sure that we drive those carrier connections quickly and efficiently. It's really exciting, really, really exciting. So quick case study here. If we were to just look at a specific plan, just kind of, well, all right, so I've got my HRA plan, I've got my carrier, we've got some integration, that's happening. An employee here went in to the MyMedicalShopper portal and provided their login credentials to their carrier portal. We're set. So as an example here, we have an HRA. We have a medical plan here with a $1,000 deductible. Yeah, we wish, huh, anymore? Medical plan with a $1,000 deductible. The employee is responsible for the first 500. The employer has established an HRA for the second 500, or that remaining 500. So just a quick synopsis here. Claims incurred. So that employee goes to the doctor, okay? They're gonna, because the doctor visit applies to the deductible, it's $200. The doctor prescribed an MRI. We got that done, and that was $600. And the employee needed to fill a prescription, right? I mean, can be very typical, with what we see out there, here today. So what does that look like? So as the claims get processed, right? So we're going to just assume for the sake of this case study here that the employee also had an FSA. So they're going to utilize the debit card, right? They're going to pay for the prescription copay for that $50. It will be auto-substantiated because it's a prescription. So there's going to be no further need to submit any claims or additional claims to PrimePay for that particular transaction. And so what happens to the others? Well, the carrier is going to process that doctor's visit, that MRI claim. And so what happens is this: as soon as that EOB is posted to the carrier portal, ClaimsFlow retrieves that EOB out of the portal, grabs that data, and sends it to PrimePay. Within 24 hours, we're reviewing that particular claim. We noticed here that $800, because it applied to the deductible, it applies to the HRA. The first $500 of that is paid from the FSA, which will be pended as a claim within their portal for them to then tell us, hey, oh yeah, please go ahead and pay that claim, pay that $500 out of my FSA. Or potentially they could have used their debit card potentially for the FSA. But the remaining $300 then would be automatically reimbursed to the participant based on what was submitted for the EOB. So in this case, for both the FSA and an HRA claim, no claims forms were needed. The EOB information, they didn't have to submit it. It was automatically brought in. And then that prescription self-substantiates through that use of the debit card. What a clean and efficient process here for the employees. Let's cover some FAQs, because as I see some questions come through, we might be able to help address some of the questions here that you have just about, well, how does this work? Is this an issue? So on and so forth. This was one of the questions that has come up here as I see here today. So a debit card. If a debit card is primarily used, how does this work, right? So if you guys think about a debit card and how it's used for an FSA, all right, or an HRA for that matter, the debit card is tied to merchant codes. Okay, it can't be used at a movie theater. You can't use it to pump your gas, right? It can only be used at eligible medical merchants or providers, dental, vision, hospital, primary care, all of those types of instances, all right? So past IRS, statutes from the IRS basically stated, though, that if the debit card is used for co-payments, we can auto-substantiate co-pays and the like. But once you ventured beyond co-payments or prescription drug types of transactions, when you swipe that debit card, we will automatically require that employee, that participant, to submit additional substantiation materials to ensure that the swipe that was made, the transaction that was made, that it was indeed an eligible expense under their plan, all right? So many of these swipes require additional substantiation. So how does ClaimsFlow benefit it? Well, when the EOB comes in to the portal, ClaimsFlow, right, MyMedicalShopper grabs that specific EOB and sends it automatically to PrimePay. PrimePay, through our system, we're going to see, hey, we're going to match things up. Hey, here was a service rendered on the same date. Oh, what was the amount? Oh, it was $100. Hey, what'd you swipe that debit card for? For $100. It can have the effect of auto-substantiating that debit card swipe or that transaction without the need for the participant to submit additional substantiation material. So it greatly reduces the chance of having maybe debit card charges rejected or just more questions, right? Relating to, oh, what is needed? What? I need to send in more stuff? I thought I swiped my card, right? So this has the effect of really creating an additional efficient process here for the participants. Big question that has come up a lot too is just, well, what about employers, right? I mean, we need to safeguard the information here that is shown here by the participant, and just like from the regular FSA account that a participant would have, access to their portal here at PrimePay, can employers see claims information, through ClaimsFlow or through MyMedicalShopper? The answer is no. Claims data is completely confidential. There is no portal access for the employer to ClaimsFlow or this specific MyMedicalShopper account, okay? So the employer is not going to have any direct access. Now, they're going to have access to their HRA, to their FSA. They're going to be able to see account balance information, right? There's a lot of good information, needed information that an employer will need to have access to. But in regard to this and ClaimsFlow, there is no access for the employer. So how long does it take to import claims data after the account is first established? As you read through this here yourself, basically we're looking at around 24 hours. So once that employee has provided their credentials and MyMedicalShopper has gotten those credentials and we've established that, it can take up to 24 hours for claims data to be collected, processed, and then posted into the PrimePay portal. So everything here from the time claims data is retrieved from the carrier portal, it may take up to about 24 hours for those claims to appear in PrimePay's portal. So if we use the a time period of 24 to 48 hours, that's probably pretty accurate in regard to by the time PrimePay sees the data so that we can then process that specific claim. This is a very big question here in regard to, well, we have others, right, that are also part of the HRA, but my spouse and or dependents does not provide me with the carrier portal access to their EOBs. They want privacy there. And so I, as an employee, can click on to that MyMedicalShopper wizard, right? Click on that button and go in and enter my credentials to my login information. But what about my spouse who hasn't really given me access as an employee? No problem. Within the MyMedicalShopper site, there is a way for that employee to send a secured link to their spouse. And then the spouse can go in, click on that link, they can enter in their credentials in a secured manner, not side by side with that employee, but in a secured manner. And then once that's in, then all claims, all EOBs that are posted to the carrier portal account of the employee and the carrier portal of that spouse, all of those will be collected, gathered, and then sent here to PrimePay. So it's not just for the employee, it can also include those spouses and dependents portals that are needed as well. All right, what is the process to get started? And I'm gonna kind of share what is needed, okay, here in regard to the timeline here in just a second. But it really is easy. An employer starts a new HRA or FSA with PrimePay as of 12/1, right? So we go through our normal implementation process. The employee then is going to log into their PrimePay participant portal. They click on MyMedicalShopper. They find their carrier and provide their login. Again, immediately, that's going to create the opportunity for them to have hands-free EOB claim submission. So question is, implementation. What are we doing here at PrimePay? How is this going to, when can I start getting proposals or quotes on ClaimsFlow for these HRA or FSA services, or HSA as well? This immediately, okay, as far as implementation. And it will have in a proposal, ClaimsFlow service here at some point, once a promotion period has ended, we will be charging 50 cents PEPM for this ClaimsFlow service. We are running, though, a special promotion right now from 12/1 effective dates through the end of January. All new FSA and HRA employers will receive ClaimsFlow for free, okay? So many of you who may have already submitted a proposal for 12/1, it's still on the table, okay? But it is effective for 12/1 starts, okay, for new business. But they're going to go through, when we talk about implementation, it's as standard as it always was. The employer is going to sign that proposal. We are going to right away, right, find out what carrier is that employer connected with, all right? And then we will begin to do our part with our partner, MyMedicalShopper, to make sure that the carrier connection is started, integrated, validated, okay? Prior to that effective date of the plan year, all right? Or shortly thereafter. We're going to go through our normal employee education and enrollment, and then ultimately enrollment by that participant or, by the participant or by the dependents. So the official timetable of our launch is this. You can begin requesting proposals for ClaimsFlow, having ClaimsFlow included as part of that proposal beginning today. It is available, all right? We are accepting, again, all new business for FSA, HRA, HSA groups can include ClaimsFlow beginning for starts 12/1/18, all right? So just short time from now. So you ask, well, Steve, what about the existing clients? You guys have a lot of existing, of my clients with you. What happens to them? So we decided through this crazy kind of busy season to just hold off on incorporating ClaimsFlow for all of our existing clients. But we have a plan that will really initiate this connection of ClaimsFlow with the existing clients beginning here in the first quarter 2019. So think after January. So probably beginning in the February and March time period is when we would begin accepting the movement or accepting the adoption of ClaimsFlow with existing clients, okay, that are currently with PrimePay. All right. All right. One thing I want to point out, ClaimsFlow is a perfect integration and enhancement with our FSA and HRA plans, right, and that administration. But I also want you to think about some of our recent technology integrations with two other powerful, kind of dominant platforms that are being used by brokers here today. We now have complete integration of our Flex, our FSA, HRA, HSA services, and Cobra with Employee Navigator and Ease Central. Okay, so not only are we enabling a more efficient claims submission process, we now are creating a more fully streamlined, integrated process for the employer, right? For enrollments, elections, changes, all those things that are going to occur. What a great opportunity to integrate those solutions with these powerful platforms. We just announced, if you saw our press release today, we announced our official live launch of our payroll API integration with Employee Navigator. All right, so that actually, look for that press release here just today. So we have payroll, we have FSA, HRA, HSA, and COBRA fully integrated within our Employee Navigator, within the Employee Navigator platform. It's exciting, guys. Not only are you so busy, right, with hopefully new opportunities, new clients coming in, and your renewal activities, but having all of these extra things at your disposal, I think will make for some great conversation and hopefully a great opportunity for you to win business here in the fourth quarter. So there have been several questions that have come through, and I feel like I've addressed a lot of them, but there's probably several that we've not been able to fully address. So I will have our team members reach out to you directly after the webinar, after this is completed, and answer those specific questions for you. Remember this ClaimsFlow is being offered right now as a free service for that first plan year if enrolled by January 31st, 2019, and it starts with 12/1 effective dates for that FSA, HRA, or HSA. So if you have additional questions, or if you just don't know who your local sales executive or regional manager, a product specialist, please reach out to our broker concierge team. You can reach them at concierge@primepay.com or use the phone number there that you see on your screen. For follow-up, again, for our broker concierge partners, you will receive a copy of the slide deck for your review and use. And for everyone, we will be providing you a link to the recording. That will be posted on our youtube.com broker concierge channel, and the link is there below. If you subscribe there, as soon as we post it, you will be notified that it has been posted. So that could be one way for you to get that information quickly as well. I can't thank you all enough for the partnerships that you have provided here at PrimePay. We have such great broker partners, and we are thrilled to be able to deliver these new services, enhancements here for you, your clients, and ultimately the participants, those who are actually going to utilize it day in and day out. We have been working over the summer and have built a wonderful dedicated enrollment team. So you now have a dedicated team of individuals that as you bring in new business throughout this fourth quarter, they are aptly prepared to be able to ensure a wonderful client, a raving fan experience here as we implement these in the fourth quarter. So thank you. This will conclude our webinar here today. Have a great day, a wonderful fourth quarter, and we look forward to hearing from you and your clients on this great enhancement. Take care. Have a great day.